Hello everyone, happy Friday. Michelle back with another spooky Reddit story for you. This story is called Low-Key Terrifying Experience, and it comes from a military person, so I thought this one was kind of interesting. So here we go. I was in the Marine Corps from 2008 to 2012. I served as an infantry Marine and I was stationed in 29 Palms, California. In 2009, while training for my first deployment, we went to a specialty school called Marine Corps Cold Weather Mountain Warfare School, which was located in Bridgeport, California. I enjoyed the 5-ish hour bus ride up the Highway 395 through the Sierra Nevada mountains. I took in the beautiful scenery as my mind wandered what I was in for, dreading the climbing of 12,000 feet plus mountains that littered the landscape. Weeks of training go by. I was relieved to hear that we were moving to a place called Hawthorne to do some live fire exercises, which was about 30 miles away to the east back into the desert, an old out-of-commission army base that was deemed uninhabitable in the 50s for various reasons. I was enthusiastic to escape the bitterly cold temperatures of the mountain. I slept on the ride there. Upon waking up, I looked out the window and was shocked at what I saw. Remnants of an old base scattered the landscape, halfway destroyed buildings, guard towers, and other typical military stuff you'd expect to see. Behind that lied a jagged lava rock mountain, casting their shadow over the destroyed buildings. The place looked like a nuclear bomb had went off nearby. Have you ever seen the old nuclear test videos from when it was first developed? They would stage a fake town and analyze what the blast would do. This place looked like that, with a mixed game series, Fallout and Chernobyl, if you've ever heard of that. As we drove further, I noticed a bunch of mine shafts heading into the sides of the mountain. Now, I was very curious as to where we would be staying at. I was relieved to hear there was a makeshift FOB, nothing fancy by any means, just an old green tent for the NCOs and the upper ranking battalion staff. Us boots would be sleeping under the stars in the dirt. At least we had a makeshift HESCO. No, I do not know what some of these terms mean because I'm not military, so hope you guys do. Alright, so they had a makeshift HESCO wall around us to make things feel like home. During chow that evening, we were all sitting around BSing. I asked my sergeant, what are all the mine shafts in the hillside for? He said they were munition storage facilities, as well as fallout shelters. This base was designed during the Cold War era, which made it super creepy. It's like all the people just decided one day to leave, and the vehicles were still there, everything. It was really strange. Night arrives. It was fairly hot out even though it was night, and we were back down in the desert. I was having problems sleeping even though I was just in my skivvies on the top of my sleeping bag. Some of the others were awake, BSing, and I could hear. I stared at the stars and the mountains looming over me. It was full moon that night, and hardly any clouds as well. As I was scanning the mountaintops, which, if I had to guess, were 500 to 700 feet above me, where we were sleeping made it seem I could almost reach out and touch the top. I saw something strange moving about at the peak. Figuring my eyes were playing tricks on me from the extreme physical exhaustion and sleep deprivation, I disregarded it. Even later that night, I woke to go use the bathroom. As I'm utilizing it, I look up to see where I saw something earlier. To my surprise, the strange silhouetted figures were there, scurrying about the ridgeline. Now, this has definitely caught my interest as my mind was wandering. Thankfully, I had a lot of really cool stuff lying around my pack back at my camp. Once at my gear, I grabbed my trusty PVS 14 night vision monocular. Don't know exactly what that is, but I do know what a monocular is. I bring them to my eye and look back up, and I see nothing. That can't be right. Like, huh? I swear I saw something. I look over to my buddy, and he was awake, and I asked, did you see that stuff up there? He looks at me and says, what the heck are you talking about, bro? I said, forget it. few more hours go by, though, and the night, and a loud crash comes from the closest mine shaft, which was located about 100 feet or so from the FOB. Literally half the platoon sat straight up from a dead sleep. One of the sergeants screams from nearby and says, "Hit the rack, it was just some falling rocks," which made sense to most of us. The next morning, we woke up and did what we had planned to do for the day. Later that afternoon, we had some free time when we were creeping and checking around the nearby buildings out. 4 of us decided to go down into a building. It was half above ground and half below. The wide staircase went down to an open into a larger cubicle type area. Barely any light came through the small windows. I clicked on my weapon light and scanned the area. There were still papers and everything strewn about on top of the desk. We followed the hallway, which made a right turn. MOPP suits and gas masks line the hallway, hanging on the hooks, and we see a sign above one of the doorways that said "Girls' Locker Room." Us being the typical 19-year-old Marines that we were, we decided we had to check that out. I took the point and entered the pitch black room. I was looking through the lockers to try and find anything interesting when all of a sudden the door slammed shut behind us. We all ran like hell out the other door. There was 2 doors, one on either side of the room with lockers lining the sides. That's my life story. Thanks for reading if you made it this far. So what do you think? I'd like to think, coming from military personnel, this would be a very reliable story. I do think with the age that this soldier was at the time, like, things could, you're very sleep deprived, you're just very overworked and tired and fatigued and just keep going, and so I'm wondering if maybe he was just having sleep like issues and seeing things. But I don't know about the slamming door, but I wouldn't say a slamming door would be enough to call it a haunted location personally, because it could have been like nobody's been down there and they open it and maybe there's a suction with everybody coming through, who knows. But let me know in the comments, do you think there were things walking around on top of the mountains? What do you think they were? I don't know the area so great, so if you're from that area, drop some feedback and let us know what you think might be going on there. All right, I will see you guys next time. Please repost and please leave some comments so there's interaction and these stories are getting out. Thank you.